اتنے مزے سے کہتے تھے اب نہیں بچوں گا. اور روزانہ سیدھے لیٹ جاتے تھے تو میں کہتی کیا کر رہے ہیں, ٹیڑھی پیر کر لیے اور سیدھے کر لیے, سیدھے ہوئیے. تو کہتے نہیں, انسان کو موت یاد رکھنی چاہیے, روز پریکٹس کرنی چاہیے.
کبھی کبھی غم دنیا کو بھول جانے دو, کبھی کبھی غم دنیا کو بھول جانے دو, دریچے کھول دو ٹھنڈی ہوا کو آنے دو, کبھی کبھی غم دنیا کو بھول جانے دو. ہزار شہر بسائے ہیں بادشاہوں نے, ہزار شہر بسائے ہیں بادشاہوں نے, اب ایک شہر فقیروں کو بھی بسانے دو, کبھی کبھی غم دنیا کو بھول جانے دو. تمہارے کھیت کی مٹی اگلتی ہے سونا, تمہارے کھیت کی مٹی اگلتی ہے سونا, مجھے درخت محبت یہاں لگانے دو.
Perhaps my life would have been easier if I had been unconcerned with the metaphysical, social, and economic questions. I could have been like an ox, so melodiously described in the Dhampad. A man who learns little grows old like an ox. His flesh grows, but his knowledge does not grow. Or if I had the courage, I could have sincerely chosen a course, and like some of my valiant friends, struggled for it. I passed a confused and rambling life in an insecure and turbulent world. Therefore, my story also is confused and rambling.
اختر حمید خان کو تو نہیں جانتا ہوں میں.
ہاں میں اختر حمید خان کو نہیں جانتا ہوں.
کبھی نام بھی نہیں سنا؟
نہیں.
اچھا, آپ اورنگی پائلٹ پروجیکٹ جو چل رہا ہے اس کو جانتے ہیں؟
جی
اختر حمید خان کو جانتے ہیں؟
اختر حمید خان کو نہیں جانتا.
یہی ہمیں فخر ہے کہ اختر حمید خان مسیحا نہیں, وہ اپنے پیروں پہ لوگوں کو خود کھڑا کرنا چاہتے تھے اور اس کے خلاف تھے کہ کوئی آدمی اپنے آپ کو اتنا پروجیکٹ کرے کہ وہ اپنے آپ کو سیویئر پیدا کر دے.
My generation has lived in a world in turmoil. Indeed, a troubled generation. I was born when the First World War began in 1914. Both my parents belonged to the middle-class families of Agra, the city of Akbar Badshah, the twin capital of the Mughal Empire, the city of Mir, Ghalib and Mian Nazir. My parents were the products of the 300 years old Muslim culture, an Indo-Muslim synthesis.
ان کی شرط یہ تھی, ان کی والد صاحب کی ہماری, کہ ایک پیسہ بھی حرام کی کمائی گھر میں نہیں آنی چاہیے. اگر گھر میں حرام کمائی تو ہماری والدہ کہتی تھی کہ میں بھوک ہڑتال کر دوں گی, میں کھانا نہیں کھاؤں گی.
اور ان کا بیک گراؤنڈ یہ تھا کہ وہ ایسے محلے میں رہتی تھیں, روشن محلے میں, جہاں ہندوؤں کا بھی اثر تھا, مسلمانوں کا بھی اثر تھا, شیعوں کا بھی اثر تھا, سنیوں کا بھی اثر تھا. تو وہ ایک قسم کی یونیورسل ٹائپ کی ان کی سمپیتھی تھی.
1927 में जिस वक्त 10वीं क्लास का इम्तहान देने गए तो उस वक्त 400 किताबें वो लिटरेचर की और मुख्तलिफ चीज़ें पढ़ चुके थे. जो 10वीं क्लास के तालिब इल्म को जिसकी उम्र 13 साल हो, मेरे ख्याल से एक गैर मामूली बात.
Akhtar Hamid Khan was a precocious child. His father, a frugal Pathan and staunch Muslim, was a product of Sir Syed Ahmed's reform movement. He accepted the new British education system and wanted his son to be an ICS officer, equal to the British. But the son was not ready to be ruled by his masters.
Well, anybody in those days who would resign from ICS, what else the world will think? This was the most coveted service. It was the toughest sort of competitive examination probably in the world. I mean, all over the world, I mean, people used to compete for it, at least in the British Empire. So, somebody who gets in and then resigns, well, of course, for the ordinary people, a person must be a fool to do that.
In 1943, a terrible famine struck Bengal in which 3 million lives were lost. There were grave doubts that this catastrophe was a ploy to squash the Bengali uprising. In Dr. Khan's province, it was a different story, as he refused to cooperate with the government operations.
उन्होंने कहा कि आप ऑर्डर्स की कैरी आउट क्यों नहीं कर रहे? तो उन्होंने पूछा उससे कि which orders you mean? I have not received any orders. उन्होंने कहा no, oral orders भेजें. तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, आपने तो हमें ट्रेनिंग में ये सिखाया था कि never go after oral orders, always insist on orders in writing. So I asked the commissioner to give me orders in writing. He never did. Now if you like, you give me an order in writing, I will follow it.
It gave me no joy when poor people groveled before me. It embarrassed me. Or when I saw their misery in times of famine, I could not maintain a lordly indifference. I became very miserable myself. Nor could I shut my eyes to the evils of the system for whose maintenance I was rewarded with power and pelf.
तो हमारे वालिद मरहूम ने उनसे कहा कि भाई तुम्हारे 9.5 साल हो गए हैं, अगर तुम छोड़ना चाहते हो तो खैर ज़बरदस्ती तो कोई भी नहीं करता, मगर 6 महीने और काट दो ताकि तुम पेंशन तुम्हें मिलने लगे. तो मैं वहीं खड़ा था, मुझे अब तक उनका चेहरा याद है. तो वो हंसे और उन्होंने कहा कि अगर मुझे, हम लोग वालिद को मियाँ अब्बा कहा करते थे, मियाँ अब्बा अगर मुझे पैसे की इतनी वो होती पेंशन की उसकी, तो मैं आईसीएस की नौकरी क्यों छोड़ता.
With nothing more to learn from a system he began to despise, the Burra Sahib tendencies of an ICS officer went through a complete overhaul, from a labourer to a locksmith. World War II was over, and as the Raj celebrated victory over Hitler, the call for independence gained momentum and intellectual thinking took a new direction.
Allama Mashriqi, my father-in-law, again picked up the flickering imperial torch. He wholeheartedly believed that the Indian Muslims under his guidance could reconquer India like Mahmud Ghaznavi, Muhammad Ghori and Babur. In the exuberance of my youth, I agreed with him.
पहली और आखिरी दफ़े वो हमारे घर आए, तो जब वो तशरीफ़ लाए तो उन्होंने एक फ़ौजी नमाज पढ़ाई. अच्छा, तो फ़ौजी नमाज जो थी वो अजीब गरीब चीज़ थी, यानी वो परेड थी, वो नमाज नहीं थी. अच्छा, उसका नतीजा ये हुआ कि स्टूडेंट्स जो थे वो नाराज़ हो गए. हमारी तादाद उस वक्त 300 थी, तो हाफ रह गई. अच्छा, उसके बाद एक कैंप हुआ हम लोगों का 1945 में शाही मस्जिद में लाहौर की. तकरीर फरमाई कि अब मैंने ये फैसला किया है कि अंग्रेज़ को हम इस तरह तो नहीं हरा सकते, तो अब हराने का ये तरीका है कि हम एक मुत्तफ़िक़ा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पेश करते हैं और वो जो है अपना बोरिया बंडल लेके चला जाएगा. तो वहाँ दैट वाज द पार्टिंग ऑफ द वेज.
In 1947, the subcontinent woke up to a new dawn when thousands of Muslims crossed the border to make a new life for themselves in a new country, Pakistan. Akhtar Hamid Khan was not amongst them.
We are living amid cyclones of controversy. Every thinking man's map is conditioned by his own temperament and circumstances. Like my contemporaries, I too made personal and moral maps and changed them from time to time. I did not offer them to others. I did not intend to be a leader or a preacher, and I do not pretend to do so now. I only wanted to be a storyteller.
His new map took him to Comilla as a principal of Comilla College to teach. Little did he know that this was to be his schooling ground.
Whenever he has seen that the students are not very solvent in paying their tuition fees and other, even to wear their clothes and shoes, they had to attend the classes in barefoot. At that time he thought that it is better, instead of teaching the students, it is better to teach the fathers of the students. That means if the fathers cannot be economically solvent, in that case they cannot send their sons in the college.
For 5 years at least, he has studied the Comilla village and Comilla people. Almost every evening or afternoon, when he was the principal of the Comilla Victoria College, he used to go to the village just to know and observe. He was a great observer.
I always remember Imam Ghazali's words, and he said, "I have poked into every dark recess. I have made an assault on every problem. I have plunged into every abyss. I have scrutinized the creed of every sect. I have tried to lay bare the innermost doctrines of every community. All this have I done, that I might distinguish between true and false, between sound traditions and heretical innovation."
(1959), the new village aid director, with philosophies fresh from Michigan State University, desperately searched for solutions for poor farmers. 90% of them owned less than